Intro. Good.
All right.
Hello.
Wait, are we ready?
We're ready.
Okay. So I don't know what episode we're on.
25.
25. You're good, Chris. All right. So anyway, we're on episode 25. We don't have Brandy today,
Sorry, guys.
which breaks my heart, and I'm
know.
sure it breaks a lot of our fans'
We don't
hearts,
have an
right?
attractive female.
Exactly. We just have two
Disgusting.
disgusting men. Yeah, Brandy makes these shows so much better.
Yeah.
However, she's busy, and I made a commitment to Brandy that she's got so much to do that I wouldn't stress her out on these podcasts if
Right.
I didn't feel like she was available. And tonight we have an event, which is our AI event. We have our monthly AI event, which you're stiffing me on. But basically, we want to be prepared for when the full emergence of AI comes. We know what to do. So every month, a bunch of us meet and talk about what's coming, what we can do about it, right?
Right, yeah.
That's tonight, so since she's going to join me for that, we can't have her today. But we got a great topic today, and we actually do have a third person that's going to be on our podcast.
That's right. We're testing out ChatGPT's new AI voice function. Say
Okay, so
hello.
say hello, and are you happy to be on our podcast today?
Hello there. Absolutely. I'm really happy to be here on your podcast. It's always fun to join in and have a chat. Thanks for having me.
All right, see? Okay. So here's our event. Here's our topic today, though, okay? And the reason I want to do this topic today is because I'm sitting at my favorite coffee place, Tim Hortons, right? Mm-hmm. And some guy opens up his car door so he gets his stuff, opens up his car door, and I just see all these bags, Tim Hortons bags, drop out on the parking lot floor. He backs up and pulls away, and he leaves a whole crap load of garbage on the parking lot floor. Now, you may remember that somebody that we know wrote a book called The Giving Revolution, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy wrote this book with the expectation that there are like 8 billion people on the planet. There's like 197 governments, and nobody has figured out a way to bridge the gap between the people who have way more than they need and the people who have way less than they need, right? Mm-hmm. So the guy who wrote this said to himself, hey, what if we come up with a series of things that people can do to get people thinking about how they can make contributions in the world and potentially reduce the gap a bit between people that have too much and people that have too little. Right. So today, we're going to talk about these various ideas. Okay. And there are all kinds of ideas that can help contribute to the world for regular people like us. You don't have to have money.
Right.
You don't have to be rich, Chris.
Right.
You and all your friends can contribute without being rich.
Well, only a couple of them are dirt poor.
Are any of them dirt poor? Okay, then we might be helping them.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, my God.
Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to go through the ideas in this book, okay? It's called The Giving Revolution. And the first thing is a concept, which is called life's balance sheet, okay? And so if you might know in accounting, a balance sheet is credits versus debits, right? Mm-hmm. And it gives you the health of a company.
Right.
To me, life's balance sheet is giving versus taking. So imagine you still have two columns, but instead of debits and credits, it's giving and taking. And imagine that in every relationship you're in throughout your life, there is a balance sheet between you. Between you and me, Chris, There's a balance sheet. Yeah. I'm giving to you, and I'm taking from you. Well, at the moment, I'm giving more than I'm taking because you're only 26. But the point is, everybody should strive to give more than they take in every relationship, right? That's a pretty good environment then, because now so it's siblings, it's friends, it's parents, it's children, it's employers, it's employees, it's strangers on the street. If every time you run into a stranger, is there a way that you can bump up your balance sheet by a little bit on the give side without taking? So if you were to go up to the stranger on the street and push them down and take their money, would that go on the give side or the take side?
Take side.
Right, okay, yeah. So that's a take. But what if you had a stranger on the street and you gave them $10 because they're holding up a sign that says, I'm poor and I need money?
That's a give.
That's a give. If you never see them again for the rest of your life, your balance sheet is on the give side with respect to that person. So that's the mentality of this author with respect to relationships. Give more than you take in every relationship you're in. And we've got a whole shitload of givers in this country, right? In this world, on this planet. Okay, so what do you think about that before I move on?
Because it aligns with religious morals, too.
Okay, are you a religious man?
wouldn't say overly religious,
But you're spiritual.
yeah,
You believe in God.
I believe in God.
All right. So next thing on the list. If you're a parent, be a dedicated parent. Because here's the thing about parenting. If you are a crappy parent, you're not involved, you're absent, right? Your kids are going to not grow up well.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they become everybody's problem, right?
Yeah.
Like if you have good parents that raise their kids, and by the way, I don't care if you're divorced or single. I mean, divorced or married. If you have kids, you should be a dedicated parent. Even if you're, you only have the kids every other weekend and one night during the week. You still have them 24/7 if they need you for anything, because there's phones and there's Teams and there's, FaceTime, and there's all kinds of ways you can communicate, even on the days you don't have them, to be a dedicated parent. Me, I'm a dad, but same goes for moms, right? No matter what happens, be a dedicated mom. So number one, you help your kids. That's a big contribution to your kids. Give them a better chance. But two, you help society because you're producing children that are going to be taxpayers. Yeah, good members of the communities that they're in, right? So if you're going to be a parent, be a dedicated one. It doesn't mean you have to be a parent, Chris. Okay. I'm not saying you shouldn't be, because I think you'd be a good dad. Okay, let's see if I could get to the next chapter here. Okay. Okay, I got it. It is use a garbage can instead of the street for your garbage,
Yeah,
okay?
it's pretty clear, yeah.
And it's like that guy today at Tim's.
Yeah.
He pulls away, he leaves his garbage out there. So now everybody that is driving in there has an issue with garbage that they got to deal with. They got to look at it. Who wants to do that?
Yeah.
So put your garbage away, right? That's a simple thing. Instead of throwing it in the street, walk 20 more feet and put it in the garbage can at whatever place you're at. And I would say there's even a rider on that that's not in this book, which is pick up garbage. Right? So imagine you're going into Lowe's, okay? You're walking and you look down and you see some garbage that's not particularly nasty, okay? It's like, it's not that bad. It's just garbage. It's just strewn on the ground. You can either walk over it, or if you look ahead and see a garbage can, you could bend over and pick it up and bring it over to the garbage can and stick it in, right?
Right.
Any parking lot in the world has garbage in it.
You should have a garbage can in your car, too.
That's not a bad idea. But think of this, Chris. And here's what I do. If I look down and see garbage and it doesn't look too nasty, and I look ahead and see a garbage can or around me, I pick it up and I put it in the garbage can. If I don't see a garbage can, I don't pick it up. I don't have to be like crazy about this. But imagine if you're going into Lowe's, right? Ask your friend how many people go into Lowe's on one particular Lowe's location on an average day.
How many people go to Lowe's on an average day?
At one location.
At one location.
Yeah, just to recap that for you, at a single Lowe's location, it's pretty normal to see somewhere around 1,000 to maybe a couple thousand people a day. So that range of about 1,400 to 2,100 people daily is definitely a fair estimate.
Okay, you know what I love about that? Three things. Number one, we got an answer. Two, it was in a very pleasant voice that sounded human.
Yeah, British.
But three, she remembered that we just asked that question before we started the podcast because we were wondering about it, right?
I got to watch out what I talk
Yeah, because
about.
she just said to recap because we had already talked about it. So imagine this. You go into the Lowe's parking lot. There's like 1,500 people that go in there every day. Assuming no one's throwing garbage into the parking lot, right? Assuming step one is resolved, which is we don't litter anymore, like nobody litters. If there is litter and 1,500 people walk in and there's a garbage can like right up there, right? And if they see garbage that's not too nasty, they pick it up and throw it away. There'd be no garbage on the floor in the parking lot except the really nasty stuff. But if we follow number one, which is don't litter, then no one would throw that really nasty stuff out, right?
Yeah,
We'd have no more garbage, though. No more garbage in fields, no more garbage on the street. It'd be gone. We'd have no more garbage, right?
Yeah, I would advocate for somebody in the bushes with a BB gun. Once they see somebody litter,
Okay, I'm not saying I support that. But, maybe your generation does. Maybe your generation does. But the point is, so one day I'm in Malaysia, and I'm at a place called the Batu Caves, okay? Cool. And it's like a really cool area where, by the way, there are monkeys everywhere. Yeah. I mean, they're running everywhere. Like, I think I saw 75 monkeys while I was in there. And you look up, it's stunning at these Batu Caves. But if you look down, there is garbage everywhere.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I know
disgusting.
it. Yeah.
This phenomenal site is overrun with garbage.
Yeah.
Right? Now, by the way, their garbage cans are full in that the day I was there. They're just overrun too. So clearly people aren't emptying the garbage. But getting rid of garbage would make it a lot nicer for everybody when they're walking around, right? And it's not that hard.
No.
Just don't litter. And if you see litter and there's a garbage can nearby and it's not too nasty, pick it up. We can do that.
Common sense.
All right. Next thing on my list is show respect for the least respected. Okay? So this guy told me about this, which is, here's what's his argument to me. If you are respectful to a surgeon, like a brain surgeon, how much value do you think you're contributing to that brain surgeon?
Not much.
Not much, because everybody respects a brain surgeon, right?
Yeah.
They're doing surgery on your brain.
Yeah.
They got to be super smart. They got to be athletic because you're using your hands, right? There's a lot of eye-hand coordination going on. And they make a lot of money. So everybody respects a brain surgeon. So if you're respectful to a brain surgeon, which you should be, but if you are, you're contributing like 0.00001 of value to this brain surgeon. But there's a lot of people that are not respected in this world, right? One group is the homeless, right?
Yeah.
People don't respect them. They don't even see them.
They don't see them as people.
They don't see them, right? How much value do you think you provide somebody who's homeless or in a role that is typically not respected by people?
A lot, because when I told you that story, I gave.
Tell me it.
Well, I had, I started to do what you do. I have some cash on me for this occasion. I drove past this place, and then there was a homeless woman standing, and then she had a sign. She's really hungry, so I just gave her $10. She almost cried.
Yeah, she was really valuable because two things. Number one, you gave her money, but two, you saw her.
Yeah, I was like,
right?
I said, have a good night. God bless.
Yeah, you didn't walk by her.
No.
Right? And think about it, that's so little. I mean, it's so easy to do that, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying everybody can give $10, but if $10 means way more to that person than it means to you, right? It means something to you, but it means way more to him or her. I don't know, was it a him or a her?
It was a her.
Okay, so by the way, on that note, there's another one in this book, which is keep cash in your car so you could give it to the homeless. Why? Because nobody carries cash anymore. You see a guy standing at the street corner with the sign that says he's hungry, and all you have is credit.
And you're like, can I Venmo you?
Yeah, can I bet? Right, yeah. Dude doesn't even have a phone, right? So, and he's got no bank account, so you can't give the person money if you don't have cash. So this guy gave me a tip once, which was keep an envelope of singles or fives or tens or something like that, so that when you drive by the street corner and you see the guy or the woman, somebody holding up a sign that says they're hungry and it's raining, right? Or even if it's not raining, you could quickly reach in and give them some cash. Easy way to contribute, right? And you did that, and you felt good about it.
I felt good.
Okay, so let's see what the next one is here. Okay. Let's see. That one that oh, yeah. The other thing is, it doesn't have to be money necessarily. Like, we live in a cold area, right? So I have a friend who goes to Target every beginning of the winter and gets like 6 of these blankets that, by the way, I love these blankets. They cost like $25 or $30. They're rolled up really tightly, and they're great couch blankets. They're like really big. If you're ever sitting around watching TV, they're fantastic. But imagine if you're sitting under a bridge, right? They're fantastic when you're sitting on your couch watching TV in your house. But imagine if you're under a bridge and it's freezing cold out. It'd feel really good then, right?
Yeah.
So what this guy does is he just keeps blankets in the back of his car, and if it's cold out, he sees somebody on the street, he gives them a blanket. Because he doesn't want to give cash because he doesn't know what they're doing with it, and he's really particular about that. But still, blankets are good.
Yeah.
And this other woman I know, every Sunday she makes brownies, and she keeps them in her car. So she could give, and they're all like individually sealed. So she could give out brownies to people who are on the street and hungry. Yeah, I mean, it's probably not the healthiest choice, but everybody wants a brownie, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that is the, oh, wait a second. Wait. Oh, yeah. The front yard pantry, okay? So I've seen these around. There's like a stake in the ground and like a box that has a glass front and like 3 sides are wooden.
Yeah.
And people keep food in it at the front of their house so that if anybody needs food, they can come buy canned food and they can grab some cans, right?
Right.
They also have those for books. I've seen them for
Yeah.
books where you can like take a book, leave a book.
Yeah.
But imagine this. Imagine a scenario where everybody had a pantry in front of their house. Whenever you went out shopping at the grocery store, you got like 5 cans of something and you stick it in the pantry. Every house then if you're hungry, let's say that you can drive around or walk around, but maybe you have a house, but you're really short all the time on money and you can't feed your family that well. There's pantries everywhere that you can get food from.
Yeah.
And everybody who has, because again, it's a line between the people who have more than they need and the people who have less than they need. And that's really the line that we're trying to like shrink, right?
Yeah.
So if you have more than you need, you can probably afford to get a few extra cans of something on your grocery store run.
Yeah.
And then you could stick them in the pantry. And then there's pantries all over the place with like canned foods,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or pasta or something that lasts for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, let's see. Okay, another thing is giving to shelters, right? Because shelters are where people have no money. And when my daughters were younger, we used to do a run to BJ's once a month and bring it down to the shelter, right?
Oh, okay.
Like just to get them into the mindset of it. And one day, and we're always getting stuff like toiletries, vegetables, fruit, and stuff like that, right? And one day my daughter grabs like a whole sleeve of Snickers bars. And I'm like, babe, you can't give people Snickers bars. You got to give them something healthy. And she said, we love Snickers bars. And I thought, yeah, that's a great point. I bet you this will go first at the shelter.
Yeah.
Like everyone will be waiting for the Snickers bars.
Yeah,
Because
sure.
why not? Why shouldn't people who don't have any money get Snickers bars and Kit Kats and Twix bars?
Yeah.
So it became a fun thing that we did with my daughters. It was like our monthly ritual. And monthly isn't that much. It's not invasive in your life at all.
Right.
And we would do that, and it would be something that was like an activity, because you're always looking for stuff to do with your kids if they're not in their sports or anything.
Right.
But at the same time, it got into their brain the importance of like contributing.
No, that's a
You know?
good activity.
Yeah. Okay. What's next here? By the way, did you read this book?
You gave me the book and I read it a little
And you
bit.
never read it, did you?
But you did summaries for me when I filmed the
Oh, we
short.
did those shorts,
Yeah.
right? Okay, here's something my daughter taught me. Her statement is, an unsaid compliment is a missed opportunity, okay? Now, typically, the world shits on us, right?
Yeah.
People don't say nice things to you. They don't say nice things about you because if they think nice things, they often don't say them. But they always say the nasty things, right? So we're in a world where there's a lot of sniping going on and a lot of negativity. And my daughter, at a very young age, like maybe, 12 or something, she was like, she's always complimenting people. Like, that's a nice hat. And her mentality was, you could see something good about everybody. Like, believe me, it's hard for me to see something good about you because, I mean, you're not giving me a lot to work with here, Chris. But you got hair. You got a full head of hair. That's good. I don't have that. So anyway, so what she does, and she still does it to this day. That was like 15 years ago. She still does it. And what she does is whenever she sees somebody, she looks at something that she sincerely believes is nice. Hey, that's a nice scarf. Hey, that's a nice ring. That's a nice jewelry. Something nice to give, because when you compliment somebody, you give them like a little tiny burst of serotonin or dopamine, one of the brain chemicals that the brain loves, right?
Yeah.
So by complimenting somebody, you're actually giving them the gift of a moment of happiness,
Yeah.
right?
I try to compliment a couple people, but it's always like, yeah, I know, I'm
Wait, nobody says that.
No, seriously.
Wait, you say to somebody, hey, you look good today, and they're like, yeah, hell yeah, I look good.
Yeah, or sometimes they'll say, wow, you figured out that remote. That's pretty cool. Like, yeah, I know, I'm a genius.
Wait,
It's like,
come
oh,
on.
man, I wish I
Okay.
never complimented you.
Okay, so that I think is a rare occurrence. Maybe in your generation, but not in my generation. Usually, you know why? Because people in my generation, we're getting so old that we'll take any compliment, right? Just say something nice about me, okay? Everything's falling apart. Is there one good thing, right? So, anyway, compliment. Oh, here's the next one. Clean up your mess. So I had this friend, Rick, and we used to once in a while go camping because he was big into camping. And he was always big on cleaning up before we leave the campsite. And he wanted to make it so that if somebody came after us, they wouldn't even know we were there. That was like his big thing.
Right.
Clean up your mess. And after thinking about it for years, I was thinking that actually spreads way more broadly than just the campsite. It goes into everything. Your roommates, like when you're living with somebody, if you have a roommate who's a pig, it wrecks it for everybody.
Yeah, it does.
Clean up your mess. My daughters lived with me forever, and I would just tell them, girls, if everybody just cleans up their own mess, we'll never have a mess in this house. The house will always be clean. I don't know why that was a hard concept, but it was hard because they hardly ever did it.
Yeah.
But it's legit. And it's not just that. It's also you make a mess in a relationship, right? Let's say you're in a romantic partnership and you've been in them and you do something thoughtless or stupid. You got to make that right. You know, even if you end the relationship, you break up with somebody, try to do it in a way that is the least painful, right? The least damaging to that person. You know, like don't break it off with them and they go spread rumors about them, right?
Right.
You know, try to make it, you know, that kind of goes with the the life's balance sheet, right? If every relationship you have a higher give side than a take side, that would also mean cleaning up your mess. So apologize when you did something stupid, right? Fix something that you broke. Anything in relationships or campsites or anywhere you are, make sure you clean up your mess. All right, let's see. What's next? Let's see. Oh, okay. So I have a friend who does this. He and his family adopt a family, okay? I know it sounds stupid. They don't adopt a child, they adopt a family. And basically, it started off because a family priest that they had was also working with a bunch of low-income people who were always struggling, okay? And for the holidays, they would go to him and say, do you have any families that need presents for, like, you know, Christmas or whatever the holiday event is? And he would say, yeah, I have this family. They have a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old boy. And, you know, they would get presents for them for Christmas typically, right, every year. But then one of them came up with the idea that why do we just do this through the year? Why don't we take this family on informally and, you know, make sure that maybe we can pay their electric bill every month. Maybe we could mentor them or their kids. We can provide like friendship to them or something. A family in need, you can actually take on, not by yourself, but with your whole family. And, you know, now you have to be discerning because, you know, you got to make sure that whatever family you're working with is good and they're safe and they're not going to cause a problem for you. But, but it's a cool mentality, right?
Yes.
And that is, you're not just giving like to somebody on the street. You're saying, this is a family that's not living on the street, but they are struggling every month to make ends meet, and you're not, right? Because, again, there's a line between those who have more than they need and those who have less than they need. And I'm sure there's people in the middle that have just enough, right? Yeah. But if you have just enough, you're probably on the less than you need side, right? Because you don't have any buffer. Because everybody needs a financial buffer in life.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that was a cool idea. Adopt a family idea. Again, it's not real. It's very informal. Here's another thing on this. Another chapter is about the hardest 2.5 words to say. What do you think they are?
Thank you.
No, those are 2 words.
Oh, you said
thank you. 2.5 words.
2.5 words.
Yeah.
Is a half word?
Well, I'm sorry. Right?
Oh, I said
because I am sorry, right?
Yeah.
But it's really like 2.5 words, right? It could be 2 words. I guess I'm is a word, right?
I think I've mastered saying
I'm
sorry.
You have?
Yeah.
So one of my daughters is great at it. If she does something stupid, she's quick to lose her temper, but she's also quick to apologize.
Right.
And I've tried to train them from a young age that it's safe to say you're sorry.
Yeah.
In other words, if you do something stupid and you apologize and you say you're sorry, our family rule is you must accept the apology cleanly. You can't say like, you know, damn right you're sorry, or you know, you tell me exactly what you did wrong. I need to know that you're really sorry. Because if you do that, it's the surest way to never get another apology, right?
People hardly admit that, especially dudes.
It's hard, especially men, right? It's harder for us because we have pride, we have testosterone. We don't want to admit that we're wrong, and it's so hard to say, right? And it's almost like you're opening yourself up to attack or something. But it's easier. Some people, it's so much harder to say I'm sorry than simply to end a relationship.
Actually, I don't think my ex-girlfriend ever said she's sorry. It'll be like 2 out of 10 times when we fight.
That she'll say she's sorry?
Yeah.
Oh, that means maybe.
It'll be like hey, sorry for that. And I'm just, oh, okay.
Okay, but if they do say it, you have to encourage them by saying, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I always like, yeah, thanks for finally saying it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what you don't want to say, right? Yeah, you don't want to say that. That's not your approach. It's, yeah, finally, I've been waiting all day for you to say that, right? Right. So the I'm sorry. But if you say it, you're also giving someone a gift, because I'll tell you, I've said I'm sorry throughout my life, and believe me, it's not easy. Every time I've said it, I've never gotten a bad response. Every time I've said it, people have always said, I accept your apology, or thank you for saying that, or maybe grunted in a favorable direction, right? Or grunted favorably in my direction. But that's a gift. You talk about contributing in the world. If you don't say you're sorry and you did something, other people have to carry it.
Yeah.
Right? You do something to hurt somebody and you don't say you're sorry, they're carrying resentment. Maybe forever. Your relationship might never be the same. So here's your choice. You could either say you're sorry, own it. We're men, right? If there were women here, I wouldn't say this, because now I'd have to, it's adult. Let me say it that way. Be adults, right? I was going to say man up, but be an adult. Own what you did and say you're sorry. And again, it's not easy for me. And I'm not saying I've always done it the right way. In fact, I've probably done it wrong way more than I've done it right. But I try to do it right, because it's, if you say you're sorry, it's even. If you don't say you're sorry, you've contributed negative value, which in the life's balance sheet, it's as bad as taking.
Yeah.
You're taking joy.
Yeah.
You're taking peace.
Yeah.
Right? But if you say you're sorry, you're giving peace. Oh, I have a great example. I'm in the San Diego the other day with Brandy. We're in the elevator, and it's a little crowded. This guy gets on the elevator with his backpack, right? And he turns, and he kind of bumps this young girl, maybe 16 years old, in the face. And the mom of this girl says, hey, excuse me, you just bumped into my daughter. And he looks at her and he says, well, it's a crowded elevator. What do you want me to do exactly? What do you think I should do? And we're all like, oh, shit. It was so awkward. But then everybody goes and exits the elevator and goes into the cafeteria area, right? It's like a Hilton, and they have the free breakfast. And I swear to you, I see this guy walk up to this lady, tap her on the shoulder, and apologize. She gets up, she hugs him. They must have chatted for 10 minutes. He turned the situation from a day-long resentment and regret to this positive joy fest.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really good.
I gave him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah.
In fact, I even went up to him later and I said, dude, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
And he said, oh my God, I felt terrible. Most people wouldn't have had wouldn't have been adult enough to do that.
Yeah,
they would have just walked away.
Something like that would ruin somebody's day.
Yeah, and then you're carrying it too all day. You're like, I wish I had been a big enough person to say I'm sorry, right? But that was a great lesson. I wish that was on video.
Yeah.
And then we could pull up the video, on this podcast.
Try and generate AI.
There you go. Fake the whole thing. Okay, here's another idea that I actually talked to a guy who's on a flight back from Toronto, or to the Toronto airport. I'm talking to this guy because we're coming back from someplace in Europe, and he says, I'm asking him what he does. He's retired, and he said, what I do now is I garden. And I'm like, sounds boring. And I said, you live in Toronto? How big's your garden? And he tells me this huge space. And I said, you have that much space in Toronto? And he said, yeah, but it's not all mine. He said, what I do is, I started my garden in my neighborhood. I have a small garden, and I was bringing all the vegetables in my car one day because he would take it to the city mission, right? And a neighbor saw him, and he told him what he was doing. And he said, oh, my God, I wish I had time to do that. So this guy I met who's retired and loves gardening said, tell you what, I'll garden your yard too, and then you keep half and I'll give half to the city mission. And the guy goes, no problem. In fact, I'll buy all the stuff. Now he's got 2 gardens. He did this with 9 other families. He said he had 10 total families in the neighborhood, all of which heard the story and said, oh, you could take a 10 by 10 piece of my yard too and garden that. I never do it. I wish I could. it became a whole neighborhood thing.
Wow.
Then he goes out, and a lot of the people go with him to the city mission now. They collect the stuff up, and it became a neighborhood thing, but he does all the gardening because they don't have time. So, of course, I'm imagining, what if every neighborhood on earth did this, right? You got who does, in some places there's no space, right? But if you're in a rural area, suburb, you probably have space in your yard, especially in the U.S.
Yeah.
Especially in Europe. And, I was just in India, in Delhi recently. There's no space.
No.
At least in the places I was, it was so crowded, there was no space. People had little tiny gardens on their balconies. Yeah. But if you are in a neighborhood where there's gardens, imagine if every one of those places had little gardens they're growing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
All these city missions would be overrun with vegetables.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
And somebody, I would steal all the basil plants, and they'd be like, "Who took all the basil?"
Wait, why do you steal basil?
I'm just saying. No, it'd be like,
Oh, so people go yard to yard. So you got the good people making gardens, and then you got Chris going out there stealing the basil for some reason.
my friend had it's kind of a similar concept, but he had so many grapes, so he told people in the neighborhood, "Hey, come get some free grapes."
Ah, okay.
And
And they stripped him bare?
somebody took too many grapes. He's like, I was watching you. You took way too many. Get out of here.
He should have been a better communicator.
I know.
Everybody, come on, take 10 grapes each, right? Because this guy's got a bushel basket. He's stripping all the grapes off. But anyway, it's a cool idea, though, right?
No, it'd be good.
Imagine a garden in every yard where there's space for a garden, because every neighborhood's got one person who has time and would love to
Do a
garden,
little
right?
donation box,
Yeah, exactly. Everybody, the deal is you buy this neighborhood guy the stuff, he builds your garden, and he farms your garden, and he collects all the stuff, and he gives you half.
Yeah. That's a good deal.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't do
Fresh.
that?
It's fresh.
Now, I wouldn't do the garden because I don't have time for gardening, but when I'm retired, I will one day. Oh, that's Brandy, by the way.
Yeah.
And, in fact, I'm going to answer it and put her on our podcast. Hey, babe, I got you on speaker, and you're on our podcast.
Wait, what podcast are you doing?
Oh, well, I didn't want to bother you with it because of the reasons we've discussed, and we're doing that AI thing tonight. So I told Chris we're going to do a podcast right now, and now you're on it, girl.
Oh my gosh, I love being on it remote. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the giving revolution.
Ooh, I love that topic.
So we just did one where the guy, well, I'll tell you about the neighborhood gardens tonight so I don't have to bore our readers with or our watchers with it. But the next topic is fight the urge to brag. Because
That's a good one.
the reality is nobody likes a bragger, right? Because here's the thing that a bragger does. They do one of two things. Either you believe them and you feel bad about yourself because they're so great, or you don't believe them and you feel cringed out over them and now you're embarrassed. So the bragger accomplishes one of two things. Either they make people feel bad about themselves or they make people feel bad about the bragger, right?
Right, absolutely. Even if it's a self-deprecating bragger, like they're bragging in a self-deprecating way.
Oh, yeah, that's the humble bragger.
Yeah, it still doesn't feel good.
No, but here's a good example of a humble brag. Oh, my God, I came in like 50th in the Ironman triathlon I did last week. It was awful. And in other words, I did an Ironman triathlete. And I came in 50th out of like 2,000. But you say it.
Searching for a compliment.
Right, exactly.
But don't be negative on yourself too.
No, but there's something about self-deprecation that makes people feel comfortable.
Well, like my friend, he's like, "Man, I'm such a piece of shit."
Okay, well, you don't have to do that. But you can occasionally joke around. First of all, you don't self-deprecate in a negative way. You joke about it like, oh, my God, I have this great lush head of hair, right? Because then you're basically saying to people, it's okay to be imperfect, right? And it gives people the right to feel okay about being imperfect.
Well, my bandmate, he did this. He was like, "Yeah, I know. I would rather be somewhere else too."
Okay, that's not cool. Yeah, and by the way, you don't deprecate about other people. In other words, it's like, man, I hate being around you guys. Okay, that's not cool. You can self-deprecate, but you can't attack Chris, right? Chris can attack Chris, but you can't attack Chris, right?
Not cool.
No, not cool. But anyway, so yeah, to fight the urge to brag. So and that is about yourself or even about your kids, right? Because people, and by the way, I'm sure I've done it. Everybody's done it, but you don't realize how bad it is till your kids are older and they annoy the crap out of you and you don't want to brag about them anymore. But there is something about the bragger that it makes everybody uncomfortable for either, again, reasons that they feel bad about themselves, like, oh my God, they're so great. Their kids are so great. I suck and my kids suck. Now I feel bad about myself. Or I'm so embarrassed for them that they're bragging.
Yeah.
So anyway, here's another one. Next one on the list is, and by the way, Brandy, you can stay with us as long as you want. Okay, so the next one is pay back your student loans. So I got this from a friend of mine. We're having a reunion years ago, right? And we're all sitting around this place we used to go, this bar we used to go. And this one guy who's like a notorious guy who does not take accountability for himself. He was laughing at the rest of us for paying back our student loans. And he was like, you suckers, I didn't pay mine back, you know. And I said, yeah, but don't you appreciate that that means we paid yours back? And he's like, no, you didn't pay it back. The government paid it back. I said, no, we're the government. It's the taxpayers. We paid your loans back. So we paid our loans back and we paid your loans back because, dude, nothing is free in this world. If you didn't pay it, someone else paid for you. And that's the thing that people don't understand is there is no government. It's us. It's taxpayers. If you are not paying your loans back, your friends are, right? So be a good contributor. Pay off your student loans.
That's right.
I mean, first of all, personally, I don't think anyone should even have to take out student loans. Because if there's all kinds of reasons that people take them out, but one thing is you don't have to, because if you go to a state school,
Yeah.
you live at home if you can,
Yeah.
and you work from high school every summer, part-time, and then through college, summers and part-time, you could save enough money to pay for school.
But sir, I can't bring girls over if I live with my mom.
I know, you do have to sacrifice a few things, but good news is you might not be able to get the girls anyway. Okay, the next thing is something I learned from my children, which is reduce, reuse, and recycle, okay? Because the planet has finite resources, right? Now, of those 3 R's, I fully buy into the first 2. I don't know the deal on the third one, but I do it anyway, which is recycle. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether we save or lose with recycling because you recycle, you pull your can out to the end of the street, trucks go down the street, shooting stuff into the air, get your recycles, bring them to a plant that's doing something with them and shooting stuff into the air. I don't know if it's legit, but I do it. But the first 2, you win every time. Reduce, that means use less, right?
Yeah.
And the other is reuse.
Yeah.
You know who my favorite people are? Brandy, were you there today when the Got Junk were taking that stuff out of the house? And I told the one dude, my favorite people are garbage pickers because they're essentially reusing, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it goes in a landfill.
That's why I wear the same clothes.
Which wouldn't be bad, but I'd appreciate if you wash those once in a while because you stink. But anyway, reducing and reusing is a win every time. Consume less and reuse the stuff you are consuming. Okay, let's see what's next on our list here. I'm sure, Brandy, you went through the reduce, reuse, and recycle program with your kids.
Absolutely. I love that. And I think it's in the order of operations that it should be. First, reduce.
Yep.
Then reuse if possible. And if you can't reduce it or reuse it, then at least get something that can be recyclable.
Exactly. Okay, next one. Mentoring, right? There are all kinds of young adults who have not been appropriately mentored in their life. And by the way, I'm looking straight at you, Chris. In case there's any question about who I'm talking about, they have not been appropriately mentored in their lives, and they don't have the same chance that other people have in the world. Because here's the reality. Okay, I'm goofing on you, Chris, although I do provide you way more mentoring than you want. But here's the reality in the world. A lot of kids do not have mentoring. They don't have parents in their lives. Even if they have parents in their lives, the parents sometimes don't have the qualifications to mentor. if you have the opportunity to mentor somebody, that can give them a chance in the world, right?
Right.
I mean, if you have look at really successful young adults, they probably had either they're brilliant, they're just naturally brilliant, which you can't educate and you can't create that, it's just natural, or they probably had good mentors in their lives, or
Right.
they had good parents who were mentors in their lives. And if you don't have that, you're at a disadvantage.
Right.
So, particularly if you're retired, you know, I have a friend that goes out and he goes out to this location in our town and he provides free mentoring for whoever shows up. And at first there was like nobody there and he just sat there. But then one person came and he's giving some mentoring and word spread. In fact, one of my friends wanted to set up he has a lot of houses. He bought this church and it has like this big open space. He wanted to set it up just for free mentoring for young people who want to start businesses. But the point is, mentoring is really valuable. And if you have some extra time, contribute it to people who, are young and don't know anything yet.
Yeah.
It's a great way to contribute to the world. And guess what? It's free. Okay, next thing on this, the next chapter on this is, at every opportunity, see strangers. Right? What do you think I mean by that, Chris? See
Well,
strangers.
When you just asked me that, I just thought about something else that's not appropriate. But
Okay, well, maybe we better not say it if it's
But,
not appropriate.
you mean meet new people?
I'm just saying, see people that are walking down the street and say hello. Like
Oh,
see strangers, because we have what we probably think of as scenery in our lives. We lost Brandy.
Yeah.
We probably have scenery in our lives, right? All these people who are around us, who a lot of them are super lonely, right? It's stunning with 8 billion people on the planet, how many people are lonely, right?
Yeah.
You think, well, wow, there's somebody for everybody, but there isn't.
Yeah.
And the older you get, the more lonely you get because your friends start dying. Kids don't want to talk to you anymore.
They have their own family.
Your
own-
parents
yeah.
are dead. They have their own families. It's stunning how many people are lonely out there, and they're strangers to you. Even if you just say hello, maybe even stop and chit-chat for a minute, how much that contributes. Now, I'm not saying it changes their whole life, but it changes their minute,
Yeah.
right? Or 2 minutes. And maybe they go thinking about it later on that day, how somebody saw them, right?
I'm not good at. I'm okay, but I'm not good at it. I'm better than most of my peers when it comes to like initiating conversation and stuff.
No, but you're getting better at it.
Yeah.
No, I think you're definitely getting better at it.
But most
You
time
know?
it's just like, let's do that.
Yeah, but even that, I know you could probably do a little better than that, but at least it's something. You're noticing them.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that every generation has their own weird things between their own generation, but elderly people always want to be seen, right? And they're never seen. Like once you achieve a certain age, and I think I've gotten there, we're invisible to people, especially young people. See people. That's the message there. Next thing is the micro charity. The micro charity. Think about the micro charity, right? You contribute to a charity and you're blind to it. You don't know what's going on in that charity. But what if you find somebody in need and you get a bunch of your friends together and contribute to help that person out? Like, for example, somebody is poor and needs a rehab on their house. So you say to yourself, hey, let's get 10 of our friends together. Each contribute, I don't know, a few hours. We contribute a weekend, something like that. We go help this person rehab their house. Now it's a charity that it's not real. It's not a real charity, but at least you can see the fruits of your efforts and your money. You can actually see people in your own community, right? So instead of giving, I'm not saying don't give to United Way. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying people might feel more fulfilled if they're either giving to local areas that are in need or they're giving to, so my daughters did this one thing where they raised money from all their friends and the teachers when they were in high school to give to 3 families in need for Christmas. They bought Christmas presents. They went to that priest I told you about. Mm-hmm. He gave them 3 families. They all bought presents. It's like their own little charity. They raised like $1,500 and got a whole bunch of presents. They got to go give them the presents. It was a whole fun day for everybody. They got to see the fruits of their labor with their little micro charity. They ended up doing this every year while they were in high school because it worked out so well. But you could do that with anybody. You and I could do that. We could agree that we're going to each contribute $500, and we're going to do that for something, right? And maybe get 5 of our friends who each contribute $100 or something. Now we've got like $1,000 that we can work with, or $1,500 that we can work with, and contribute it to one family. Do something for one family in need. It's a micro charity in concept, but it's not real.
Right.
By the way, are we running out of time? Is that why you're looking at the clock?
Well, I just wanted to see where we're at. We're at 51.
Okay, let's get through a few more of these, okay? Because
Okay.
anybody can shut off anytime they want,
Yeah.
right? On our YouTube show.
Yeah, they can stop.
They don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. You know how we have the I'm sorry rule? There's also the forgiveness rule.
Okay.
My
yeah.
family does that. If somebody apologizes to you, you must accept their apology, right?
Hard.
It's very hard, especially if they've hurt you badly.
Yeah.
But the reasoning is, of course, if you forgive them and if they're sincere in their apology, if they're like, whatever, I'm sorry. Okay, now they're not actually apologizing, but they're sincere. Like, Chris, I screwed you over. I'm really sorry. And if you're like, all right, I accept that. Thank you for saying it. It's going to encourage me to say it again.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully I won't screw you over again.
Yeah. Don't
Right?
screw.
Okay. Now, here's another thing. If you are in an argument with somebody, here's a way you can simply give. Look at their side of the argument. You're arguing viciously at Tim Hortons about politics. Somebody hates Trump, somebody loves Trump, right? See the other side of it. In fact, play the game where you say, I'm actually going to try to argue your side, sincerely. Not like some BS straw man that you build just so you can crush it, but seriously try to see their side of it. Go through their eyes. What are they bringing into this conversation? What baggage do they have that might be informing their opinion on this? What have they been reading? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
Try to see it through their eyes. That's a really great way to do it. Understanding the other side doesn't mean you're giving in. It doesn't mean you're saying that they're right and you're wrong. It's just saying, I understand where you're coming from. And oh, by the way, everyone should do that, right? Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to skip some. We'll skip ahead, okay? Oh, yeah. So there's this golden rule, I think it's in Christianity, which is treat others as you would have them treat you. When you're a parent, you could have the attitude of treat others as you'd have them treat your children,
Yeah.
right? Because once you're a parent, you don't care so much about how you're treated, you care about how your kids are treated. So imagine that your kid is out in the world, right?
Yeah.
And you're not with them. And they're interacting with people. How do you want them to be treated? That's how we should treat other people. Because I always think everybody's somebody's kid, right?
Yeah.
And what are their parents thinking? Like, Chris, you're somebody's kid.
I am.
So every time I really want to be abusive with you, right, and I want to be like awful with you and treat you like crap,
Me out the window.
exactly, I think to myself, you're somebody's kid.
Yeah.
So I'm going to treat you like I treat my own kids, which, by the way, doesn't always work for you. Because I do a lot of lecturing of my own kids, which means I do a lot of lecturing of you. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. Be a conscientious and patient driver.
Oh, yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but think about it. When you have somebody like being road ragey on you, it ruins your whole day, or at least ruins 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You have people. I saw one day. Get a load of this. I'm behind these two cars. They're screaming at each other. One guy's got his finger out the window, and I'm like, man, what kind of lunatics are these? I catch up to the car that had the finger out. He was my neighbor. I knew the guy, and I never knew he was a road rage guy, right? But think about it. If you could, and believe me, I struggle with this more than most. I'm not a patient driver. I'm a pretty conscientious driver, I think, but I'm not a patient driver. But I work at it because I know that if you want to be a contributor, remember my rule of the balance sheet, life's balance sheet? If you're driving down the street and you're being rude to another driver, you'll never see them again, which means you've taken from them.
Yeah.
You haven't given to them. So you're always on the take side in that relationship because you don't even know who they are.
No.
So try to be a patient, conscientious driver. Okay. Oh, I got one. News professionals, or let me call them so-called news professionals. The title of this chapter is News Professionals, ... Stop Stealing Our Democracy. And the rationale is this. If you are a so-called news professional and you're not giving news in a balanced way because you have your own agenda, like you're a news professional that everything you say supports the left or everything you say supports the right, you're stealing our democracy.
Yeah.
Because now we don't get the right information. Sometimes the only way we get information about what's happening outside of our visual range is with the news.
Yeah.
So if you're watching the news or even social media, I mean, if people are delivering information, but particularly news professionals, because on social media, you'd have to be a complete idiot to believe that, right?
Yeah.
Because anybody could do it. But news professionals, they're paid. You think, wow, they're professional. They're making good money. I assume they're giving us the news.
Yeah.
But oftentimes, maybe even most times, they have their biases based upon the station, right?
Yeah.
If it's a far left leaning or far right leaning, they don't give you accurate news.
Yeah.
They only give you one side or the other, which means you don't know what the information is. So when you're voting for or against something, you don't know what you're voting for. And if you don't know what you're voting for, there's no democracy. So-called news professionals that are not balanced, legitimately, sincerely balanced, no agenda to try to convince people one way or the other, those are the news professionals we should all watch.
Yeah.
Because we want the information, because then we can make our own decisions. We really, it makes us feel good to hear so-called news professionals say what we want to hear, because we hate this side or we hate that side. So it makes us feel warm and fuzzy knowing that they hate them too, right?
Yeah.
But it's not good for us. It's not good for the democracy because we don't know what we're voting for.
That's right.
So we don't even know what our opinions are because we don't know what the facts are.
No, we just base, most people just base it off other people.
Yeah, and you try, and you hear. A lot of